Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this public meeting of the Board of Johnson County Commissioners on this 21st day of December 2020 at 10 o'clock a.m. We're echoing. Please pray with us if you care to, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance while Chris works on it.
Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with grateful hearts. And dear Lord, we're going to witness the lighting of some planets tonight that's going to remind us of the star that appeared over the birthplace of your Son. But Lord, we know that light was you, and that light was represented through the light your Son brought to the rest of the world and the salvation that he gave us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. CASA, Indiana Supreme Court Capacity Building Funds Grant. I don't think. I think you do have, but it's a, I looked at the grant, so.
We got bids first.
Never mind, opening and sealed bids. Paper doesn't match.
Was that last month?
No. Didn't have it down. Sorry about that. Opening and sealed bids for the Juvenile Detention Center.
You want all?
Dan,
Oh, here it
back
goes.
there.
There's the man.
There he is.
Sorry about that, we're sorting bids. Dan Cartwright,
You turn it on in this room.
I'm still sorting bids. Project manager. We're opening bids for 3 different projects at the Juvenile Detention Center. And the first one is for the boiler project.
We do masonry first.
We'll do masonry first.
That's what's first on the agenda.
Okay.
Masonry repair project. Then roof replacement, and then boiler
Okay,
project.
there's the masonry.
Masonry. All right, here we go. The first one is from SSRG out of Cincinnati. All right, SSRG's bid is, base bid, $171,840, 171,840.00. There's a cold weather processes during construction bid as well of $18,000, 18000.00, making the total base bid $189,840.00. 189,840.00. There's also unit price bids. Unit price 1 is $175 per square foot, 175.00. Unit price 2, $7 per linear foot, 7.00. Unit price 3, $16.50, 16.50. Unit price 4, $8, 8.00. The next one is from Temna Restoration and Construction in Indianapolis. On this bid, $198,000, 198,000.00. For cold weather processes, it's $235,000, 235,000.00. That's for a total base bid of $433,000, 433,000.00. Unit price 1, $200 per square foot, 200.00. Unit price 2, $10 per linear foot, 10.00. Unit price 3, $50 per linear foot, 50.00. Unit price 4, $15 per linear foot, 15.00. Next is from the Blakely Corporation in Indianapolis. All right, Blakely's bid, we have $164,328, 164,328.00, and $11,172 for the cold weather processes, for a total of $175,500, 175,500.00. Unit price $73 per square foot, 73.00. Unit price 2, 3.05 per linear foot, 3.05. Unit price 3, $70 per linear foot, 70.00. Unit price 4, $13.57 per linear foot, 13.57. Okay, the last one is from Wells Masonry Restoration in New Palestine. I call it New Pal.
And what was their total?
Blakey,
Blakely's total base bid was 175,500.00.
The 164, 828, 11,172, and that up to that.
I didn't do the math.
164.3.
Those two things are supposed to add up to that.
64, 3, oh, I thought she said 8, I'm sorry. Okay,
I think it is good for me.
We'll double
Because I
check.
could be using bad calculator.
We'll double check when it's all over. All right. From Wells Masonry, the $138,600, 138,600.00. They have not bid the use of cold weather processes during construction, so the total base bid is 138,600.00. Unit price 1, $63.50 per square foot, 63.50. Unit price 2, $650 per linear foot, 6.50. Unit price 3, $75 per linear foot, 75.00. Unit price 4, $12 per linear foot, 12.00. That's all your masonry bids.
So Atlas has applied.
Atlas Building Services.
Do you want to hand these over to Dan for further?
I'd like to make a motion to turn this over back to Dan and let him and Brian kind of review these. They've been on board since the beginning, so just give it to them, let them review it, come back with a recommendation at our next meeting, or before if it needs to be.
we want to just make that on all of them.
All three, that, I would push that through for all three. Do you want to do?
One at a time, guys. We already made the motion.
All right, there we go.
Second,
Thank you.
A motion second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, the next agenda item. Juvenile detention roof. Okay.
Yeah.
First bid is from New Tech Roofing Contractors out of Indianapolis. All right, let's see here. All right, the base bid is $193,700, 193,700.00. For alternate 1, the form parapet copings, $5,800, 5800.00. They've also added an alternate base bid for .090 membrane with 30-year warranty for $238,300, 238,300.00. The next bid is from Cameron Construction. They're out of print. I am wrong. They're in Franklin. base bid is $189,900, 189,900.00. Alternate one for form parapet copings, $19,735, 19735.00. And the last one is from Steve's Roofing and Sheet Metal. Bloomington. Their base bid is $318,500, 318,500.00. Alternate for form parapet copings is $40,000, 40000.00.
I would make the motion, as I did before, for Dan to take a review with Brian.
Second.
And motion is second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Boiler project.
Seal quotes for the boiler project. First is from Irish Mechanical Services. Boiler demolition and replacement amount, their bid is $92,000, 92000.00. The optional water heater quote amount is $33,000, 33000.00. The next one is from MEP Holding Company in Indianapolis.
Who is it?
MEP,
Edwards
Is that
Mechanical.
it?
oh, sorry. It is Edwards Electrical and Mechanical. Their boiler demolition and replacement amount is $101,000 and no cents, 101,000.00. The water heater quote amount is $31,185, 31185.00. The last one is from Sexton Mechanical and Greenwood. Sexton's quote is for boiler demolition and replacement, $69,000, 69000.00. And the optional water heater quote amount is $36,225, 36225.00.
I would also make a motion to push these through to Dan and Brian to review and come back with recommendations.
Have a motion and a second, any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that, Dan.
Well,
Do you want to take these to Amy and have her make copies?
Yeah, I'm,
Very good.
Hey, Luke, that's seal bids for aggregate. I'm on the right page.
Yes.
Looks like aggregate is first. I don't know who this is from. I'll be surprised. Okay, the first bid is from Ward Stone LLC. The bid amount is $86,200, 86200.00. Is that the only number that should be in this?
Yes.
So we want it done, huh?
All right, the next one is US Aggregates for aggregate. Bid from US Aggregates is $130,500, 130,500.00. The next one is from Shelby Materials for concrete. Shelby Materials bids $199,000, 199,000.00. Alright. The next one is from CGS Services out of Morristown for number 11 gravel. CGS Services bid $78,600, 78600.00. Next is for FOB Hot Mix Asphalt from Reese Riley out of Indianapolis. Reese Riley bids $2,202,000, 2202000.00. Another bid for FOB Hot Mix Asphalt from Milestone from Columbus. Milestone bids $2,078,000, 2078000.00. Another one for FOB Hot Mix Asphalt from Dave O'Mara in North Burton. Dave O'Mara bids $2,125,000, 2125000.00. Now liquid asphalt from Marathon Petroleum in Indianapolis. Marathon bids $474,100. $474,100. 474,100.00.
474,000?
This is for liquid asphalt. That's
Liquid
different
asphalt.
than hot mix.
Oh.
Different. Different product.
All right.
Which is asphalt.
I have another one for liquid asphalt from Asphalt Materials in Indianapolis. Asphalt Materials bids $585,850, 585,850.00. Okay, all the rest are for motor fuel. The first one is from Jackson Oil and Solvents. Jackson Oil bids $425,261.50 for 25261.50. Next is from Premier Energy in Seymour. Premier bids $463,990.50 for 63990.50. Next one is from Petroleum Traders in Fort Wayne.
Look, that's fuel bid, is that diesel and
Yes,
gasoline? They don't break them out, one or the other?
we don't. There are times
times that we need split deliveries per tanker, just depending on what kind of volume we have in the tank, so we don't separate them into separate
Right
products.
on the bid, you know.
We have separate pricing for diesel and for unleaded, but keep in mind what the bidders are supplying is essentially their cost to bring the fuel to us. So we base that off of whatever the average rack price is for the day of delivery. What they're bidding is essentially their freight and their margin. That stays consistent through the year.
The petroleum traders bid is marked as a partial bid, but I don't have any more information. It's $424,767.50. 424,767.50. Okay, the last one. Gladieux,
That isn't,
Gladieux.
That's close enough.
Oh, come on.
I don't actually know.
All right.
Sounds like Italian ice cream.
It sounds French
Linda.
to me.
That's-
Anyway, Glado Trading and Marketing, their bid is $427,025, 427,025.00.
In the FOB asphalt bid for Milestone, usually they provide two bids, one for each plant, one for Columbus and then one for the Harding Street plant. Was there two in their submission? Does not look like.
Which,
All right, so the first one, okay, back to
FOB.
FOB Hot Mix from Plant 11, that was $2,078,000. From Plant 32, it's $2,102,000. 2,102,000.00.
I assume that's because it comes from.
Yeah, plant 11 is the Harding Street plant in Indianapolis, plant 32 is in Columbus. Depending on where we're doing work, it makes sense to pull out of different plants, just based off pricing. With the commissioner's blessing, I would ask that the bids be released to me, Luke Maston, the highway director, for review with anticipated recommendations for awards at your next meeting, with one exception, which would be motor fuel. That contract runs out at the end of this year, and we most likely will need to purchase fuel before your next meeting. So I would ask for your blessing to review those bids and then make the award myself prior to the end of the year.
Oh, yes, maybe get with Kevin, just
check, let me know who you're gonna go with, so I can inform these guys.
We can do that.
I would so move Luke's motion.
have a motion to second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Luke, do you want to introduce the public hearing, the road impact fee for the public hearing that we're going to open up?
Yes. So the next two items are related. The item number 7 is a presentation of the impact fee ordinance. As you know, we've been working on this for a little while. The impact fee ordinance itself is ready to move forward. It will require 2 readings. So there would be a reading today and then most likely at your next meeting on January 11th. In addition to that, there's a statutory requirement that a public hearing be held, and we've selected and advertised for today in order to get any relevant feedback prior to the second reading.
With that said, we will convene a public hearing today, December 21st, 2020, at, let me get an exact time, 10:24 a.m. to receive comment on Johnson County Commissioners Ordinance number 2020-0-11, an ordinance establishing an equitable impact fee for the purpose of planning and financing road and street infrastructure needed to serve new development in Johnson County, Indiana. Members of the public hearing at this hearing have a right to be heard regarding the ordinance. Is there anyone present this morning who would like to be heard? Seeing none,
You got anybody, Chris?
I have no comments on it. We don't have any public. One, and the agreement, it talks about an installment plan.
let's do
Who's
that.
gonna administer it?
Yes, hold on.
We're
just a
certain
second.
that there's no one on there, right?
What?
Nobody's present remotely, nobody's
Okay,
present
close it to the public.
in person. So go ahead and close the public portion.
Public.
You're not.
Not today, you're not.
If, with no one appearing to comment, we will now close the public comment portion of the hearing, and then we'll open up the floor to Commissioner West.
So my question was on the installment plan, who's gonna administer that?
Would most likely be administered by the planning department, though through obviously our assistance from the highway department. There will be some combined effort in terms of calculating the fees. And then the statute does require that if the fee is over a certain amount, we offer a potential option for installment payments, so that's what that covers.
So the planning department's gonna administer it and collect it?
The fees would be collected at the planning department level, yes. The highway department.
And
would
if there's
assist.
lien action, that comes through planning department, or how you gonna handle
That ultimately would be handled by the county attorney once we reached a point where we didn't receive payments on time, yes.
And then under your, resolution, I brought this up before, on page 2, number 4, subparagraph B, it mentions without payment for services. I still contend that you can't do that.
And the version of the resolution that is,
It's the interlocal, right?
the interlocal, that was included as your exhibit has not been signed by the commissioners. So it will be, since it's an exhibit for the ordinance, once we get to the second reading, that particular issue, we've not come to a conclusion yet on how to best address that, given some of the past circumstances where we've worked with the town on minor issues before. So we've not forgotten about that concern that you raised. It is an exhibit as a part of the ordinance. So by the time we get to the second reading, and if the ordinance is enacted at that point, we'll have that issue resolved to your satisfaction.
So what's gonna happen between now and then, that
Meeting is gonna be
between the other time I
scheduled
brought it up and now?
between Luke and I and council members from Bargersville and Julie, their town manager, will sit down in a room and haggle through all those small details and come back with some kind of recommendation.
Yes. Or complete removal, if that's what
Yeah,
we all.
I mean, if we can't come to terms, it'll be a total removal.
Well, I just, the issue is that you can't use highway material, equipment, or any of that nature without compensation. I mean, you can't, it'd be no different going out to your driveway.
Well, they did it last week.
Oh, that is, okay, well, let's try that. All right, anyway, you know my point.
Yours is too long, that's why we have.
You know my point. And then the opposition I take to this road impact fee primarily is how they establish the number of trips per 24 hour. I know you got a formula that's been provided, I guess, from the federal government or from state.
It's the Institute of Transportation Engineers. It's a national agency.
So,
That does study that.
and the reason I question that, it's much akin to the argument I posed when the county adopted the wheel tax, in as much as it's discriminatory in the application, because you take a single, let's just say a single person household, and they're not gonna generate as many trips in a 24 hour period as a 6 person household. but yet they're gonna pay based on the square footage of that facility or that residence. They're gonna pay the same amount. And that's one of the problems I've had with this from the beginning. There's no fairness in the application based upon the actual trips that one might generate in a 24-hour period. Now, how you get around that, I don't know. That would be, I guess, a question for you to examine. And then the other thing, when we first got some numbers on this, I remember that on commercial facilities, price tag was pretty doggone high. Again, given the application of your formulas that you apply, I'm just concerned. Let me give you an example. Let's say somebody wanted to build a mall, like Greenwood Park Mall. Well, there's an awful lot of an economic advantage to that coming to the county based on the revenues that would be generated through the taxation of the sales and the food and all of that, the employment that they would have in relation to the retail establishments and the outlets. So there's a heck of a lot of economic benefit to those kind of facilities coming to the county. What would you estimate the impact fee based on your formula would be on the Greenwood Park Mall?
The reason that specific fees in the ordinance or for commercial industrial development are not specifically laid out is that what the ITE manual provides is a number of trips that development is anticipated to bring based off of the square footage and the type of business that it is. So there's not, without looking at what the square footage would be and the different proposed uses within the mall, that we'd be doing nothing but guessing to put a number on it right now. I would say it'd be pretty substantial. It absolutely would. But look at the amount of road work that's had to be done around the mall since it was originally put in. It wasn't that long ago that Fry Road was not improved, and it was a huge strain on the local road network for the city of Greenwood. So the reason that those fees are assessed and paid is because there is an anticipated need and detrimental impact to the roadway infrastructure for a development that's large, that's going to draw quite a bit of traffic.
So let's assume under this arrangement that you currently have planned, have a huge retail operation, a mall as an example, wanted to go to Bartersville, but they felt like the impact fee was prohibitive in doing so. But Bartersville have the opportunity to opt out of that agreement to accommodate?
To allow the mall to come in without paying the impact fee. There is some leeway available in the statute, but that specifically really refers to improvements being constructed in kind.
Yeah, I understand that, where they do road improvements and they conduct it. And I'm talking about, if retail group, so if we're not gonna go there because of the impact fee, would they have the opportunity to waive that fee?
The only it wouldn't be something that could be done administratively. There is the potential for anyone who brings forward a development or a building permit, if they feel that they have reasonable justification that the calculated impact fee they've been assessed is unreasonable, they can go to the impact fee review board and file an appeal and make their case on why they believe the ITE numbers as we've calculated don't necessarily apply to them 100%, or there's some sort of extenuating circumstance that they would be allowed to pay a smaller fee I guess potentially they could ask to pay no fee at all. But that is how that would be handled. Essentially, they come to the three-person impact fee review board, they make their case, and then the board makes a determination on whether or not their calculated impact fee should be reduced.
I didn't notice it in what I read, but who's the makeup of the review board? How's that made up?
It's a three-person board, and it's required to have a licensed engineer, a realtor, and a CPA, a public accountant.
No elected officials.
Correct, yes. With the intent, hopefully being independence, not necessarily skewed one way or the other. For
Right.
example, like our highway engineer couldn't serve on that board, because someone would be appealing essentially a decision that the county had made on that fee calculation.
Anyway, those are my concerns.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I would make a motion to approve the ordinance for the road impact fee.
On first reading.
First reading, first time, so.
I'll second that. And I will say this, with that second, I want to make sure that it's, people understand what the intent is here. And I think the intent is that there's been impact that's been done on our roads due to these businesses coming in. And it seems like we're so quick to negotiate with them to give them rebates and money back that we don't consider the other things that they bring to the table, positive and negative, negative being the impact on our roads and our structures and bridges and everything that the people pass through going to these businesses. So this, in my eye, is something as a business that I feel like would be something that I would be agreeable to be involved in, because if I'm going to get money back from something, it's going to come from somewhere else, not this. But I think this impact fee is something that is positive if it's worked out correctly between Margaretville and us, and it makes sense with some of the questions that Ron had. He has some good legitimate questions on how this is going to work out, and it's going to work. And I don't have a problem with that, but I think moving this ordinance forward to get to that point, to be able to get in those talks is what we need to do to make sure that we protect our structures and our roads for the businesses. And again, as a business owner, I would not have a problem with looking at an impact fee for what my business would cause. I think that would be fair and equitable for everybody. So that's my reasoning for my second. So I don't want people to think I'm all for this, because I think there are some issues, but I think those can be worked out. And I think,
And this is, again, I kind of liken this a little bit to an older viewpoint where I brought up the federal government charging us $20-some thousand to audit us. We're paying those people, that's their job, we're paying them already, why should we have to pay them to do their job? And it's much the same here. The people that are gonna be impacted by this are already paying all the gas taxes and excise taxes, right? So they're already paying what everybody else is paying. This is an additional burden to somebody. It always, and it's gonna go back, if it's residential, it's gonna go to the homeowner, or the person building the home.
or the customer.
That's gonna pay for it, the developer will pass it too, we know that. And so those are just some of the concerns. I'm all for getting more money for the highway department for road improvements. I'm just not sure this is the most fair and equitable way of doing it. Yeah. I think we've had this.
And your concerns are certainly valid, Ron. I can't say that, I mean, I agree with some of them. What it boils down to for me is looking at the northern part of White River Township as it stands. And that's a perfect example of new development coming in, particularly residential, of people who want to be here. And there are a lot of people that still want to be here and will in the future. But yes, those people, once they move here, there's a little bit of a delay, but we get that additional fuel tax revenue, let's say. But ultimately, that provides for maintenance of roads. It doesn't provide us enough funding to do major improvements to accommodate that traffic increase. So I share those concerns, and as we've talked about before, I don't disagree with you on how the wheel tax and excise surtax is calculated. It does not seem like a fair and equitable revenue source. But what ultimately I go back to is we have a perfect example of what happens when that development comes in and we can't keep up with the improvements that need to be done to the roadway network. And there's no reason to believe it would be any different as that development continues to move further south.
And again, my concern is more commercial than it is residential, but, you know, we do have to realize and approach things in a common sense way, and I think those issues will be covered. I think the people doing it, working on it, are going to do a good job of that, so I have all the confidence in the world in that. And let's also face, we have more families living together now than we ever have, so the amount of people coming out of a house is more than what it used to be, and that's just being honest. It's just being honest. It's just the way it is. I know in my family, it's worked that way for some. You know, where you have more than one, so there's more impact there than sometimes we really consider it. Anyway, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you.
Look forward to how you guys work this out.
Me too.
Sorry. And at that point in time, I do need to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I would so move to close the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sheena, for that. Moving on. Discussion of roundabouts, when I show up next, am I on the correct page? Okay.
Well,
Is Norm zoomed
I
in?
was supposed to be here this morning for this. I don't know.
Norm or Kevin McGinnis, possibly? I don't know.
I don't care to be on board, I mean, that quick.
So, we have nobody but you.
I can talk about it. I met with Norm and some other people with the town of Whiteland. And basically, and this is for Luke primarily, but what they're proposing is a roundabout at Whiteland Road and Sawmill Road. And they're proposing to offset it to the southwest corner to eliminate taking out those houses in New Whiteland. And what they're also proposing is they'll fund the complete project, but because the county is on the west side of Sawmill Road, both on the north and south, they're asking that the county oversee the construction of it. I talked to Dan, and he said he would love to do that, oversee that construction. It makes a lot of sense. If you've been through that intersection, you know that it's a four-way stop, and it's a typical kind of bottleneck sometimes to traffic getting through there. The other thing too.
That's an understatement there.
Yeah. The other thing too is I think by expediting the traffic through there to the east on Whiteland Road, we might get New Whiteland to consider removing that three-way stop that's currently there and not really needed, I think. That's a little personal assessment of that. But they're willing to fund the project completely. They've got a certain amount of just preliminary work done through United Consulting. And so that's, Norma's going to be here today to present that and talk about it.
Maybe invite him back for the first of the year and
Yeah,
follow up with him, sir.
I don't have a problem with it myself. I think it would benefit that area, would benefit the county. county also. And the oversight part, because they're gonna fund it, they would fund whatever Dan's involvement would be. We would recover that cost also as a part of the project. And also like the idea that putting this in would preserve some of the current payments, so they wouldn't have to tear it out and redo it. They could reuse it. And it's, I guess it's akin, Luke, to what we did out there at Griffith Road and, or Hurricane, the roundabout there on Whiteland Road, where we did all the work primarily, and they went ahead and finished it up. The only question I had to Norm on this was, they presented it, and here, if you need one of these copies, as a one-lane roundabout. I think it's gonna have to be more than one lane, given the aspect of, with I-69, you're probably gonna get some semi or 18-wheeler traffic coming down on 144 to Whiteland Road and coming across. And also, as Dan pointed out, grain trucks, there's a lot of farmers that access through there hauling grain.
So we know they tear up things.
Yeah. So I think the consideration ought to be for more than one lane, but then that's really, if they're funding it, it's up to them to be able to fund that kind of improvement there. What's your thoughts?
I think this location would be a great place for an intersection improvement like this. I mean, it's currently a four-way stop.
It's a busy location.
It
Get
is.
rush hour.
And it's slowly, the area to the south has built up with new developments, but it seems like in the last few years that has really sped up and increased the amount of traffic.
Yeah, a great big addition that went in there just
Yes.
on the southeast corner of that.
Yeah, the west leg of that intersection is on the county's inventory. What they proposed seems reasonable, and to the extent that if Dan is kind of the project manager from the county's standpoint, obviously we have the most experience in this type of work, and we're happy to help if issues come up or with any guidance. That's right up our alley and would not be a burden. The Whiteland Road's always kind of been a difficult issue to tackle for both the county and the town. Even if this was improved to a two-lane roundabout, we still have kind of the choke point east of 31 of the downtown old Whiteland area that we most likely would never be able to get 4 lanes of traffic through and be able to keep the feel of that area of town. So that's something that we grappled with for a long time, because ideally it's a straight connection to the I-65 interchange. I will say that a roundabout will move a lot of traffic. Intersections are usually the choke point on a 2-lane road. If a roundabout was installed here, then the obvious choke point would be the 3-way stop to the east. But if that's removed, essentially there is free flow of traffic between US 31 and State Road 135 if this intersection project's done.
Is there a way to widen a lane and keep it a 1 lane, but widen it enough that the grain trucks and semis can get through? That way you're not increasing flow into the old town area, but you're still giving the semis and the trucks the way to get through there.
Absolutely.
And take up a lot less room than 2 lanes, I would think, too, doing it that way.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. And the other kind of the historic concern with truck traffic and single-lane roundabouts has been the truck apron, which was always a pretty tall section of concrete and not easy to navigate comfortably. Those truck aprons around the center island the design has changed significantly. They're not big bumps like they used to be. They're much easier for the back wheels of a trailer to navigate. So that's one of the positive changes on those roundabouts is you don't necessarily have to add a lot of asphalt as long as you have a truck apron that's not difficult to navigate for trucks. And I'm sure that that's what would be installed here. So,
Kind of like a 5-foot inner sidewalk before we run it over.
exactly.
Consensus wise, I would be a positive toward this. If it's done the right way, I think it would be nothing but a positive for all of us, so,
Yeah.
including the town of White.
Yeah, just some questions. I mean, like, where's the truck traffic gonna go once they get east of 31? How they're gonna handle that? I mean, Franklin put a kibosh on that. Do Franklin, you know,
Are they
do
gonna
this?
Are they gonna do that too?
I mean, I know this is gonna be on their dime, but I just hope they make the right decision if they're gonna reroute through someplace else. I mean, there's a lot of traffic issues in the county that we need to address.
If we build it for it and we can still keep it slowed down, you know, to the point where we're not creating more traffic.
Yeah.
Flow,
Just do it
I
next
think,
time.
I think we probably, it would be a positive.
Oh, yeah, I think it'd be positive.
Anyway, do we want to have Norman then come in and present this, or do we want to just
Well, I think,
get with him and have him come in?
I don't think Norman would be back at our next meeting. I think he'll be out.
We retired
He'll
the
be
15th.
definitely, yes, have to come in at that time.
He's retiring the day after the 15th.
Oh, so he's back January 15th.
Yeah, so
Okay,
he
that'll
might
be
be
the first of the year. Okay.
He's gonna do his state of the town on the 15th.
I think we need to move further with discussion, whether we do it in a meeting with you and them, or bring them in here or something, yeah.
And Kevin McGinnis is taking his position, so he's gonna be the town manager. We already have a
Both of
relationship.
those are workable.
And I did tell him at our meeting that I had to run this, the highway department has to be agreeable with this.
And there's there's just some nuts and bolts issues that really aren't issues. I mean, who's
Just need to
gonna
resolve.
execute the contracts, and we'll have to have it interlocal, but there's just some basic things that will not be difficult to figure out. We'll just have to sit around
I'm
the
getting
table.
agreeable to whatever consensus was to move forward.
Yeah, very,
So let's do that. Thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate it. Some positive stuff. Gosh, it's kind of nice. Sheriff, Stericycle Services Agreement. This is a yearly thing. So move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm glad you guys got me in before lunch.
Well, we had to get
You guys
you,
been going?
We wanted you to get your steps in too, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
Nice letter. Maintenance Department, Irish Mechanical Services, Inc., service maintenance agreement, which I think has actually gone down a little bit.
Yes. Jason Miller, Maintenance Department. Here to renew the Irish Mechanical Service Agreement for HVAC service. It has gone down. It is $36,200 this year from $41,000 last year.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And please, Jason, let them know they do an excellent job. I really appreciate what they do here.
Appreciate it.
They do a nice job. Health Department, Indiana State Department of Health Vaccination Clinic Funding Grant.
Betsy Swearingen, Director of the Health Department. I'm just here to ask for permission to accept, or it is to accept, it's not really to apply, to accept a grant to have a vaccination clinic.
That's why I didn't add that apply on there.
move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank
We'll leave you alone today, Betsy.
you. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Community Corrections MOU with Johnson County Soil and Water Conservation District, and I think they did this last year.
I don't know.
Do we have any, we do have Lori.
Oh,
Hi, Lori.
Hey.
Was this done last year too? Didn't you rent some space from them, or am I mistaken?
No, we have historically worked with them for several years, but this is and unfortunately, I had a staff member that's no longer with me that was signing that agreement. as she left that position, it became aware to me that we were signing an agreement, and I know that that's not permissible. So I'm here for the first time to get your approval to enter into this agreement with them going forward.
And for the record, I think Ms. Lori Myerson.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yep, my fault. I got you talking before you introduced yourself.
Sorry.
So moved, and I'm just gonna point out that it says soil and water conversations district.
Conversation.
Oh.
I'm dyslexic because I got it right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Recorder Fiddler's Technologies updated Schedule D, Laredo Tapestry Property Fraud Alert Honor Rewards. Well, that was a lot of, I thought tapestry was like
I think
sewing.
She used the title of the document, I think. And it was all that, so.
I think it's something you do every year, is it not?
We have a 3-year
Started it.
agreement, and it's just scheduling Tapestry, which is an outside search. We get money from, we've got quite a bit of money sitting there, so it'll be not out of our budget here, but out of that, so it's kind of free.
Who are you?
Oh, Teresa Petro, Johnson County Recorder.
No, thank you.
Can you jump up just a little higher?
I'll move to
No, I'm
approve.
kidding.
No jumping, no.
Not just-
jumping.
I'm terrible.
Move approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
I'll get a little coffee real quick.
Planning and zoning, amendment to Johnson County zoning ordinance to allow under certain circumstances for the development by right of way and accessory dwelling.
Good morning, David Hill, Johnson County Department of Planning and Zoning. Here with 2 proposed ordinance amendments. The first is for what we call accessory dwelling units. This is in response to, it's been several years of variance on top of variance on top of variance, of people asking to be able to build an apartment in their house or a small house next to their house, typically to be able to care for an aging parent or relative. Our ordinance does not allow for that by right, so they've always had to come and get the variance. Usually when you get lots and lots of variances for the same thing, it's an indication that you should probably change your ordinance to meet those community preferences and needs. And so we're bringing to you this ordinance amendment, which would allow for people not in major subdivisions, but in agricultural and rural properties to be able to build a structure either attached to the house as an apartment or detached as a smaller house, an accessory dwelling unit. It's a pretty Spartan, pretty simple ordinance compared to other places where they go into tremendous detail. But the major requirements that attend to it are really on page 8 of your packet, and it's that the owner needs to live in one of the 2 houses. So when the board has gotten these in the past, they've assigned conditions typically that say that you can only have a blood relative living in the accessory dwelling unit. And then that creates trouble when that person passes away. There's no longer a need for it. You have this extra house on your property, but the variance that created it is no longer really applicable. So the concern being, we don't want people to have, especially like negligent landlords, to be able to have these extra rental properties with no real oversight. And so the solution, which you see in other ordinances too, is to require that the owner of the property live in one of the 2 structures. So that's the primary condition that's a part of this. There's also a limitation on the size of the accessory structure, and explicit language that says you can only have 1 per property. So this was taken to the Board of Zoning Appeals because they're the body that's always heard these variances, and they are supportive of this. And then the Planning Commission heard it and recommended it for approval to the Board of Commissioners at their last meeting. And so we're here before you today.
I will say, David, I have sat through some of those PCA meetings, and it's so strange how they stretch the truth. I won't call them liars on some of these dwellings on the houses and who lives in them. I mean, I just look down the road. Will we continue to police that once they sell the home? I mean, does that change the?
Yeah, the conditions that we've been assigning, and these are a pain, are that because, you know, either you move somebody in there who is a family, or you make it not a dwelling, which means you remove the kitchen or the bathroom. By doing that, it's no longer a dwelling, it's just living space. So there's very much an honor system component to that.
I don't think there's ever any exact formula for that. Maybe it might be appealing to somebody to come in and purchase that home that is in need of that. So hopefully, so I would move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Second item, proposed residential design standards. Dan Cartwright is the president of the Plan Commission, and he put together a committee about a year ago to put together these standards. The county, unincorporated Johnson County, has never had any architectural design standards at all. Really, the only thing you need to abide by is the minimum building code standards, and you can build a house, you hold to covenants in the subdivision and what have you. These are pretty minimal compared to other jurisdictions. Design standards relative to exterior materials and diversities of housing model A next to housing model A next to housing model A, the cookie cutter approach. And a couple other things, eve length, and we've even dabbled in expanding lot width a little bit here. But they're pretty minor standards, pretty minimal to ensure that Johnson County is developing housing stock of a certain quality. On that committee that Dan put together is Dana Monson, Toby Winiger, who is an architect who lives in unincorporated Johnson County, Kevin McGinnis, Steve Miller, and then from my department, Michelle Hansard and myself. Just want to recognize those. So these are the standards that were put together. They, again, are not terribly complex compared to what other municipalities have done, but I think they do accomplish what we want them to accomplish. And they have been vetted by the Plan Commission, recommended for approval, and we're bringing them to you today. They will not be retroactive. They will not apply to subdivisions that have already been platted and in part developed. Even if there's a vacant lot in that subdivision and they want to come and build a house, they're not going to be obligated to these. They will only apply henceforward to new incoming major subdivisions.
Well, I'm just tickled pink to see this finally
Oh, yeah.
fruition, because we deal with that. And the proposed development over there by St. Francis and Claire really brought it to a head. In as much as we're talking about vinyl siding and the use thereof. And the other thing I like in here is the fencing, some requirements on fencing. But my contention has been forever, especially on the planning commission, that White Township and the northern part of it principally is custom home construction. And I was always an advocate of continuing that kind of construction in that area, or at least something comparable to it. If you're going to go to I'll call it tract housing for lack of a better definition, but if you're going to go to that, at least have some standards on materials that would somewhat be comparable to the custom home construction. And I think the committee did a great job on this. They put a lot of time and effort into it. We've had multiple conversations on it. Did a good job. Maybe as we go forward, we'll see how this impacts new housing that comes in. We might even want to move a step higher at some point, or at least designate. I don't know if we could designate areas that would be under a different.
You can put in overlay.
But it's something to look at. And then we're thinking primarily about an area where it's almost all construction home. Anyway, I move to approve the first reading. I guess this is first reading, right?
No,
There's no
Only
only
reading.
reading.
I would, like to also say thank you, Dave, to the committee that put a lot of time into this thing. I know it took a long time, a lot of effort from everybody's part. And I think, since we've never had it, it's a good start. I think we're growing the county a little bit. I appreciate your efforts on this, and I'll second that motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you from me too, also David, so you have for that.
Thank you.
Job well done. Under the Board of Commissioners, we've got Daniel C. Cartwright Independent Contractor Agreement. Changes in that are raised to $40 per hour, but the yearly amount stays the same as far as not to exceed amount. Is that the only two changes? That's the one change.
Yep,
that is, yeah.
yes.
Good to approve the contract.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I do want to compliment Dan and thank him for all he's done this past year. I know it's been a tough year, but you've done a really good job, and I appreciate the help in getting what we've accomplished this year done, sir. Thank you very much. Good job. Ordinance number 2020-0-12, an ordinance establishing the Johnson County Redevelopment Commission Fund number 4112.
It's just a cleanup ordinance. Remember back in July, you rerouted some funds from JCPC to RDC. We need somewhere to put it. This is where we will put it.
Move to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2021 AIC membership dues.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and I'd like to have some discussion.
Okay, go for it. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's when we're supposed to have it.
I had some thoughts on it, but
I just, it's a lot of money.
yeah,
$6,000. And I guess my question would be, and I've looked at what they did and what they say that they provide for us, but I don't know that it's worth $6,000, what the services they provide for us. And, I'm not against AIC, but, basically it's paying for lobbyists and things like that, and some attorneys and things. And not that I have a problem with being member of the AIC, but I do have a problem paying that kind of money for the privilege of the membership. It's kind of like American Express to me,
Well, I was gonna ask, Barb, you probably know the answer to this. Are we paying for all of the different, so
For everybody.
the AIC membership is collective things. We're paying for the recorder, the auditor, the treasurer, so on down the line. So it's a collective.
Still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's still a lot of money. That's the only thing I'm pro AIC in as much as I think they're the only ones that really look out for the county. The IACC, they do, but not, I don't think at the level that AIC does, but they work hand in hand.
And they do work hand in hand, and I understand that. And I'm involved now with the IACC, as you know,
The
but
only thing about it with AIC dues is the fact book. I think that every elected official ought to get a copy of that.
it is
I
good.
had to pay $20 to get a voter in.
But I was just bringing that up, and I don't, we have a motion second on the floor, and I have no issue with the AIC. I just think we ought to maybe next year question a little bit more into what it is we get for that money. If you guys don't mind, I'd be happy to be the one to do that.
I'd like to talk to some of the other departments and see how much they're utilizing that. I mean, I think some do, some don't. Maybe check into some of those and have some conversation with them.
And I just think it opens up for some thought. It's just, I appreciate you guys bearing with me on that. But anyway, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Convention Visitor and Tourism Board appointments. And I see we have some new ones this year. that are
I
requested.
read through them. We've got a couple of that pretty good applicants. I would move to keep the same least looking at the funds and how they're being spent. But I was impressed with the one gentleman that worked for the state fair board. Pretty impressive. But Sarah, I know she's probably the most qualified on there. Chet, we just put on, and John, as president of it, I think, has done a good job of leading the group. But anyway, those are my thoughts.
I would use those same sentiments. I would second that. If that is a motion, I take on the floor.
I make the motion.
I have a motion and a second on that, and just for future, for record, I am not for renaming those three, so I will be voting against this. I'm not in favor of the three that are currently on there.
All right.
I had a lot of discussion with other board members and feel that there's one of them that's a detriment to that board, but I will leave it at that. Anyway, I have a motion and a second on the floor.
Can we clarify the motion to make sure we know which three we're talking about? For the record?
Sarah Adams, Chester Albin, and John Wales.
Thank you.
I will say this, because I don't want any confusion. John Wales is doing an excellent job. I don't want to insult anybody, but anyway, I want to make that clear. I don't want anybody to think that at all. He's done a great job, and I have a lot of communication with John. Anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Public safety communications, and this is an added under new business. Benefit time carryover.
Heath Grant, 911 director.
Aye.
Just requesting to carry over some time on one of our employees who had some benefit time scheduled here at the end of the year.
Sure look like St. Ned.
Yeah.
You dyed that white and you got it going.
I was wondering if he's moonlighting in
Sorry.
Santa Claus somewhere.
Just looked up and noticed it.
And she was had this time scheduled and then unfortunately tested positive for COVID. So she was off during that time with COVID leaves.
How long was she off?
She was off for, it was a total of 74 hours. That she,
74.
yeah, that she took.
Typically, when we do this, we put the provision in there that it'll be utilized by X.
Sure, and that's understandable. I mean, it's 55 hours of time, so I mean, if we could go maybe the end of February.
End of February.
I would be fine with that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second to allow this through the end of February for use. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Tell her thank you. Happy that she got sick. New and old business claims credit card.
Well, on claims, Sheriff, it's like to get something for Sheriff Exley. There was a claim for $1,300 paid to the treasurer of the state. It was listed as maintenance. I was just curious as to what it was and why it would be listed as maintenance. And then, Sheriff, you had a claim for $178,211.20 for quality correctional care. Is that the same group that's been, I thought that was American Medical or something, or?
Advanced Correctional, we just switched to the quality care. That's our new
Okay.
provider. We have 24-hour coverage in the jail now.
And 178,211 covers what period?
I'd have to go back and look. I believe it's a longer period than just a month, but it cleans that out.
But I thought under the new provision with the 24-hour or whatever you got in conjunction with it, it's a little over $1 million a year. Okay. I'm starting to notice some claims for space heaters, and I thought we had a kind of a thought, I'll just put it that way, not an edict, that apartments shouldn't be buying space heaters for a couple of reasons. But I'm beginning to notice that. And then I noticed that face mask,
a requirement for what can be used.
Yeah, their UL is.
Yeah, certain
I
type.
can put a provision in for that. So,
Anyway, I can remember our discussions on it in the past.
I think what we did was put a requirement on what ones and how they were listed and stuff. I don't know if we put a requirement that we couldn't provide.
No, they can't have a kerosene.
No. It's a specific list.
But anyway, emergency management had a claim for 40-some thousand, I think, or something like that. Anyway, for face masks, a big number, which appropriately so probably. But then I see other departments buying them individually.
Because they're not using the EMA to get their masks.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why
We brought this up at the last meeting, and I don't know what else to do other than send out a mass email telling them to use the masks that we have. Nobody do that. Or, I don't know what else to do, it's just
And then
waste of money.
on credit card claims, I don't even know what made me do this, but I got the notice in that the manifest sheet doesn't total to what the credit card charges were. So I just asked all the department heads and elected officials, whoever's putting that manifest together for them, they should be able to add that up and it should match the number that's associated with the charge or the credit card claim. There's some pretty big discrepancies on some of them. So what I'm saying here is, a lot of times they got things that are in the credit card that aren't appearing on the manifest. Just making a point of that. There's several of them. Obviously, I don't have enough to do.
I actually had a list this time, I left it down in my office. Yeah, the one I do remember, and I wanted to bring up is there was a purchase for flowers
That
for a
was
funeral.
Bud and Bloom, that was community corrections.
Can we do that? I mean, do we do that? I don't think we've ever done that before. I don't know that that would be allowed.
We have a special fund, so that doesn't come out of the general fund, it's what the employees put in as candy bars and cokes.
Yeah, but I don't know that this,
Yeah, we
I
never
think
have
this
that.
comes out of a regular fund.
yeah,
I don't think it's allowed.
Well, I kind of thought, I saw that, and I thought it's kind of akin to these departments buying plaques and award things for employees.
They have grants for that, though.
I don't know.
And if this would be under a grant, then that's a
They
different
got a
story, you know.
specific
I'd
funding source.
like to question that, or I'd like to at least check into that.
Reach out, find out.
Barbara, if you could maybe reach out to the auditor or the corrections and find out what that was. Oh, you got it. Never mind, she's got it.
Matter that manifest didn't even have it, say who it was from. I went back to look at the credit card charges.
You bet.
It was
Yeah.
community corrections.
I know they've had a couple of, the residents message.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but I just don't think that's an allowable.
I don't-
That's my only concern. If it is, it is, but it just, I would question that. And since flowers is just anybody can want to, I don't know. It scares me a little bit, but anyway. That's all I had.
Good for
I won't have a
approval.
list.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed. Thank you, Sheriff. Sorry to bother you again.
Nope, you're fine.
Commissioners minutes, 12/10/2020 special meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed. Motion carries. Public comment. Anyone?
Well, I just like to
All
say
hearts are free and clear.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy your time off, enjoy your
Back
holiday.
out of 2020, get into 21.
I hope it gets better.
Yes.
Been a whale of a year.
Anyway, I'll entertain a motion.
For adjournment, sir.
Second.
A motion, second, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.